Have you ever felt that something inside you is stronger than you can control, as if you carry hidden, intense, almost dangerous energy? And if I told you that this is not just emotion, is it a spiritual code that lives on you, especially if you are Scorpion or carry this energy on your map? Scorpion is not just a sign. It is a silent force that watches, feels, and present, a cosmic entity with a veiled mission. But when Scorpio loses its connection with your soul, it transforms itself, and, not for the better, it becomes pure shadow, a guardian who becomes a predator, a poison curator. Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, warned about the spiritual dangers hidden in certain signs. And Scorpio, according to Cayce, carries such a profound transformation energy that he can cure multitudes or drag them into the abyss. This energy, when poorly directed, not only destroys who is around, but consumes the Scorpion himself from the inside. The signs are clear for those who know how to see intense nightmares, emotional disconnection, silent anger, and a spiritual void that grows without explanation. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever been feeling away from who you really are, as if you were losing your own essence? Do not ignore these signs. They do not appear by chance. They are alerts of the universe, soul marks asking for ransom. And if you got here, it may be because this message is for you, because Scorpio energy is trying to talk, trying to wake up, and today we will cross this portal together. But before revealing what Cayce predicted and why Scorpio is considered the most dangerous sign when losing the soul, you need to understand where this power comes from. If, at some point, these words have moved something inside you, so comment now, "I feel this energy," or "Scorpio lives in me." This is not just a comment. It is a way of recognizing spiritually that you are ready to see beyond the obvious. This type of content is not made for anyone. He plays who has an old soul, who feels that he carries a mission, even without being able to explain. It is therefore essential that you like this video now, so that the algorithm understands that you want to continue this journey. Your like is not just engagement, it's a confirmation. You heard the call, and if it is not already subscribed to the channel, this is the moment. Because what you will find out in the next few minutes can completely transform the way you see the Scorpion sign. And yourself. Here, each video is a portal, each word, a code, and every revelation, a chance to reconnect with its true essence. So comment, short, subscribe, and get ready. Because from now on, let's dive deep into the most hidden, prophetic, and dangerous side of the Zodiac. And only those who have the courage to look inside will understand what comes next. Have you noticed that there are days when your light goes out, even for no apparent reason? As if something inside you, silently, is moving away, disconnecting, as if your essence was trying to alert you, but you just can't hear. Sometimes this is not just sadness, tiredness, or emotional imbalance. It's your spiritual sign trying to talk to you. And if you carry Scorpio in your essence, then this call is even deeper. Because Scorpion does not whisper, he roars inside when he is ignored. It begs by connection, for truth, by intensity. But when you try to stifle this call, something starts to change, and not for the better. Scorpio, unlike other signs, does not accept to live on the surface. He needs to dive. You need to feel everything, even what others avoid feeling. It feeds on raw truths, experiences that transform, of silences that say more than 1,000 words. Therefore, when the Scorpion soul is ignored, denied, or suffocated, it rebels. And this rebellion does not come with external screams, comes with internal storms. A silent and invisible force begins to grow, something dark, ancestral, which takes over gradually. And it is at this moment that Scorpio is no longer healing and begins to become poison, because all that was to be transmuted becomes accumulation. Everything that was to be felt in depth is repressed, and the repression for Scorpion is like a poison that he himself drinks. This is where the signs begin to emerge: an inexplicable tiredness, a feeling of being out of one's own body, willingness to isolate yourself, to disappear, even without concrete reasons, strange sensations in the body, intense dreams, presences that are not explained, willingness to cry without knowing why. None of this is coincidence. They are the spiritual symptoms of a disconnection with its deepest essence. It is the hidden signs that your soul is asking to return. And when this happens to someone from Scorpio, it is even more intense. Because Scorpion is a guardian sign of portals. He is not just here to live, he is here to transform, turning yourself, others, and the environment around you. He is living alchemy. But all alchemy has a price, and when the Scorpio moves away from his mission, he begins to attract experiences that press him to awaken. It is as if the universe said, "If you do not hear your soul, I will give you reason to hear it." And then come intense relationships, sudden losses, cycles that close to force, the painful truths that explode without warning. Scorpio does not escape chaos. He attracts the chaos to be reborn. But when it runs away, from its own essence, chaos becomes prison. And it is at this point that many Scorpions get lost, because they think they are living bad luck, bad phase, karma, when in fact, they are facing a spiritual call that can no longer be postponed. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, said that certain signs are born with spiritual tasks that challenge the earthly plane, and Scorpio is among the most marked. It carries the energy of regeneration, the renaissance, the healing that comes after the fall. But for that, he needs to accept to dive into his own shadows. It's no use running away. It's no use denying it. Scorpio energy always finds a way to pull you back to yourself. And this can come as a sharp intuition, as intense pain, as supernatural sensations, or even as repetitive dreams. Scorpio speaks through the symbols. He reveals his soul through silences, looks, atmospheres. He feels before he knows, realizes before understanding, and so often feels out of place, as if they were always 2 steps ahead but stuck at a time that has not yet arrived. This is one of the greatest pain of the awakening Scorpion, carrying the knowledge of something that cannot yet be revealed, feeling too much in a world you feel less, loving in depth in a reality that trivializes everything. When you, who are Scorpion or have a strong Scorpion on the map, begins to feel that you are colder, more distant, more disconnected, this is more than an emotional problem. It is a spiritual sign. It is the soul warning you that you are no longer a bridge to become abyss. And believe me, the world needs the bridge, need your presence awaken, of your silent strength, of your ability to regenerate. But for that, you need to remember who you are, where it came from, of what you feel. Scorpion is not a surface sign. He carries the underworld, the unconscious, the hidden, and precisely for this reason, it has the power to heal what no one else can play, but only when it is connected to your soul. So listen to what I'm going to tell you now carefully. If you have been feeling that you are losing control of your own energy, if you realize that your emotions are more intense, disorganized, or simply anesthetized, if you have anger out of nowhere, empty of nowhere, willingness to escape everything, this is not you freaking. This is you ignoring the call. It's your sign trying to wake up, and the more you ignore, the heavier everything gets. Scorpio's soul is like a volcano. You can keep everything quiet for a while, but sooner or later it will erupt. And when that happens, or you are aware of your power, or it destroys you inside, this video is not just here to entertain you. It's here to remind you, to reconnect you, because Scorpio energy has not come to be forgotten. She came to guide, to transform, to serve as a channel of something larger. And if you're watching it now, it's no coincidence. It is because your soul is ready to remember what was done to be. If something inside you started to throb differently during this video, if you felt chills, you felt your skin creepy, or if an old memory came out of nowhere, comment here below now. Write, "I carry this energy," or "I accept my Scorpio essence." This is more than engagement, it is a spiritual seal. It is a way of declaring that you heard the call. If you felt that this content touched you, enjoy it now. This shows the universe and the algorithm that you want more truths like this. And if you are not registered yet, subscribe now. Now, if at some point in this video you felt something inside you wake up, if these words played a hidden point, a pain that you might not even be able to name, so that was not a chance. It's because this message found you at the right time. Sometimes we spend years feeling that there is something wrong, unable to explain, as if something old were guiding us, but we had forgotten how to hear. And that's why today I want to invite you to take the next step of your spiritual journey. I want you to download your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026. This book is not common. He was written for those who feel, even without understanding. For those who carry marks that traditional astrology never had swear to show. Emotional, energetic, spiritual wounds that affect your choices, your relationships, your self-esteem, your destiny. You are not alone. And if it has come here, it is because something in you is ready to remember who you are. But beware, access to the book is temporary. Soon this content will go out, and you may have no chance to access it. The link is in the first comment fixed. If this message has really touched you, don't ignore it. Click now, and starts. What almost no one understands, and many ignore, is that Scorpio didn't come into the world to be just another zodiac sign. Scorpio is a coded force, an old archetype, a living spiritual entity disguised in flesh. It is no coincidence that people with this energy are so intense, deep, and sometimes even feared. Edgar Cayce, one of the greatest prophets of modern spirituality, said that the Scorpions are sealed with a specific mission, transforming what is killed in alive, what is dark into light, which is corrupted into sacred. But this transformation is neither simple nor beautiful. It is visceral. Scorpio operates in the wound, acts in silence, works behind the scenes of the spirit. It is the one who does not fear entering where no one else comes in, because he knows it is there, in the invisible layers of the soul, that the true cure happens. Scorpio's mission, according to Cayce, is not pleasing. It is not to be accepted. It is not living a normal life. Scorpio is a sign that bothers you, that provokes, that starts masks, and behind it there is a sacred reason. The Scorpion soul was designed to break standards. It came to be the rupture, the internal revolution, the fall that precedes the Renaissance. And if it scares you, it's because you still don't understand that every deep cure starts in chaos. Scorpio is not born ready. He is born gross. It comes to the world with spiritual memories that other signs do not carry. Many Scorpios feel this still in childhood. They realize that they are different, that they have sharper perceptions, who feel the emotional climate of an environment before they even enter it. They are those who know when someone is lying, even if the mouth says something else. Those who see what is behind the smile, who feel the presence of something bigger even when everyone says there is nothing there. This sensitivity is not a defect. It is a tool, an ancient spiritual technology that has been embedded in the Scorpio soul to fulfill its mission of transmuting energies. Therefore, when Scorpio is awake and aligned with his essence, he becomes a true hidden curator. He can look at the pain of others without despairing. It is able to touch wounds without fear, to hear secrets that no one else would bear to carry. But this power has a price, because while Scorpion heals, it also absorbs. And if you don't know how to deal with this load, it begins to get sick inside. It becomes more closed, more suspicious, more aggressive. And then, instead of being a bridge, he becomes a shield. Instead of opening portals, it begins to lock it up. The gift turns into weight. The light becomes shadow. Edgar Cayce explained that this happens when Scorpio forgets his spiritual mission. When you get lost in human games, ego disputes, unused wounds of your own story, it is at this point that Scorpio activates its most dangerous side, the side that manipulates, which it controls, that hurts not to be injured. But this is not the real Scorpion. It is the Scorpion injured, disconnected, trying to survive without remembering who it really is. And perhaps this is the biggest challenge of this complex soul, not getting lost in itself in the midst of chaos. Because Scorpion needs to dive, you need to touch the bottom of the inner ocean. But if he forgets to breathe, drown. And when drowning, it takes you who is nearby. This is why many describe Scorpion as dangerous, vengeful, or destructive. But what they do not see is that behind this behavior there is a wounded soul, carrying much more than it should, desperately trying to remember what it came here. When a Scorpio awakens to his mission, everything changes. He understands that what he felt like weight was, in fact, purpose. That the pain it carried was raw material for transformation, that the abysses that crossed were spiritual training, that the silences that inhabited you prepared to hear what no one else can hear. And then he begins to use his energy consciously. It is no longer a victim of the world and becomes his alchemist, transforms betrayals into wisdom, transforms rejection into strength, transforms losses into renaissance. Scorpio is the only sign that dies too. himself, and is reborn as many times as necessary. But for this to happen, he needs to remember where he came from. You need to reconnect with your spiritual seal. And this reconnection begins when he stops escaping his own depth. This is why many people who have strong Scorpion on the map, they feel a constant restlessness, as if something within them were always about to explode. This something is the energy of non-released transformation. It is the call of the soul that has been ignored too long. And the more it is ignored, the more she presses. Scorpion does not accept numbness, does not support superficiality. It is a sign that requires total presence. That calls for delivery. That charge is true. And when you try to live like others, avoiding feeling, avoiding diving, trying to look normal, this energy begins to manifest in a chaotic way. So many Scorpion people feel lonely, misunderstood, carrying a load that don't even know where it comes from. It is because they are trying to live a life that was not made for them. They are trying to be what they are not. And Scorpio does not forgive this internal betrayal. He charges, he corrects, he destroys, to rebuild the right way. The hidden mission of Scorpio is not just to survive pain, is to transform this pain into the portal. It is looking at the darkness and seeing possibilities where others see an end. It is accepting that it did not come to please, but to change everything. That was not born to follow, but to break. That your presence is not light, it is transformative. And transformation, you already know, it's not comfortable. So if you have gotten here, it is because something inside you are asking for this truth. Because even if the world doesn't understand, you feel, you present, you carry the seal. You are one of the few who can cross the fire and come back with your soul intact, or perhaps stronger than ever. If at some point in this video, you recognized yourself, even for seconds, you felt as if something was being spoken directly to you. So leave your mark here in the comments. Write, "My pain is my mission," or "Scorpio awakened in me." These phrases activate your spiritual presence here inside the channel and show that you are no longer sleeping. Like this video right now, if it touched you in any way, don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. When Scorpio moves away from its essence, something rare and deeply dangerous happens. And I'm not exaggerating. What was once spiritual strength is corrupted. What he once cured now destroys. What it once transmuted now contaminates. Because Scorpio, when disconnected from the soul, is no longer a channel of light and becomes a living shadow. But not any shadow, not an empty or superficial darkness. We are talking about the most lethal and deep shadow of the whole zodiac, a conscious abyss, a silent force that observes, analyzes, and attacks only when necessary. And when it attacks, it does not err. The disconnected Scorpion is cold, does not demonstrate, do not be pleaded. It does not expose itself. But don't forget either, do not forgive easily, and is not limited to injuring the moment of anger. He waits. He watches you to fall for your own arrogance. And then, at the most unexpected moment, he responds. Because the Scorpio soul, when injured, does not react like other signs. She doesn't explode. She implodes. And in this implosion, it makes room for a new self. A harder, more strategic, more dangerous self. But the frightening is not revenge. It is the absence of empathy. Scorpion, when he loses his soul, also loses the ability to feel compassion. Not out of evil, but out of protection. He creates such a dense shield around the heart that he begins to believe that sensitivity is weakness. To show love is to put yourself at risk, and when this happens, it closes in a silent, cold inner world, as if it were an emotional desert, where no one is worthy of entering. It is at this stage that he turns from alchemist into storm. He no longer wants to turn pain into healing. He wants you to feel exactly what he felt, not to destroy you, but for you to understand the intensity of what was denied, the intensity of your own ignored pain. This is the moment when Scorpio becomes the most misunderstood and most feared sign. Because, externally, it seems stable. It looks good. You might even think he surpassed. But inside, He's architecting. And I'm not just talking about revenge plans. I am talking about existential plans, definitive ruptures, bitter rebirths. He may decide that you died inside him, and when that happens, it's like you've never existed. He erases his presence from heart, memory, soul, and follow. Cold, silent, but transformed. Not transformed as before, when it was reborn in light, but as those who build a new version of yourself never to be injured. Scorpion not only protects itself, it reconstructs itself around the pain, creates the new emotional armor with indecipherable codes, and sets an invisible limit between what you feel and what you show. This Scorpion version may succeed, you can achieve, you can even love, but never the same way. He is not what he was again. Because when he loses his soul, something inside him is torn, and it is not easy to recover. What people don't realize is that this spiritual disconnection doesn't happen overnight. It is built in silence. Each disappointment not spoken, each betrayal swallowed, each word is not said, each tear swallowed with pride. Scorpio keeps, goes stacking. It is archiving inside the body until the body can no longer stand, and the spirit is retracted. And when the soul gathers, everything loses meaning. The brightness of the eyes goes out. Intuition weakens. The dreams disappear. The connection to the invisible is cut. Scorpio becomes just a body in operation, a locked emotional system that acts for survival and no longer by mission. It is as if the spark that connected it to the universe had erased itself, and he feels that you are acting in the automatic, that no longer vibrates, that nothing really thrills, but you don't know how to get back, and worse, often you think you don't deserve to go back. It is at this moment that the Scorpion enters the darkest cycle of his life, the self-destruction cycle. You don't need anyone to hurt you. He himself sabotages. He himself accuses himself. He himself punishes himself. And this punishment can come in the form of wrong choices, toxic relationships, removal, isolation. All this as a reflection of the soul that is desperately trying to find a way back. But Scorpion, out of pride or fear, rarely asks for help. He expects someone to see. May someone feel. May someone go to him. But most of the time, this doesn't happen, and loneliness becomes routine. The shadow becomes home, and inner chaos becomes normality. Scorpio energy, when disconnected from its spiritual mission, loses its nobility. Its depth becomes an obsession, your delivery and distrust, your love and power, and there is born the archetype of the dark Scorpion, controller, manipulator, mysterious, disconnected. But behind this dark mask, there is still the original essence. There is still a soul that pulsates even if weak, a soul that expects, even if shut up, a soul that still remembers the purpose, even if it has been covered by layers and more layers of unique hurts. You may think you've seen the worst of a Scorpio, but his worst is not what he shows. That's what he hides. The worst is the war that he locks alone within him, every night, never mentioning. The worst thing is knowing that it has enough light to heal the world, but chooses to hide this light because you think no one else deserves it. This is the real danger of Scorpion. Not its revenge, but its withdrawal. The moment he looks at everything he feels and decides that it is better not to feel anything else. So if you are Scorpion or feel that you carry this energy on your map, note, pay attention to the signs. Are you moving away from your intuition? Are you silent more and more? Are you laughing with your mouth, but not with your eyes? Are you relating by need, not for truth? Are you tolerating what you swore you would never accept? So maybe you are in the silent process of losing your soul. But no, there is still time to go back. If any phrase in this video made your chest squeeze, if you saw yourself in these words, or you felt that this message spoke to your dormant parts, comment now, "I'm coming back to me," or "My soul still pulsates." Your comment is a spiritual anchor, a way of declaring that you recognize this journey and are aware of what is moving within you. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign, and how to heal them before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention! The stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. And then, in the midst of the silent routine, while everything seems to follow its normal course. Small events that seem disconnected with each other but carry a much deeper call begin to emerge. Scorpion, even when it is away from you, is never completely left. The soul, even wounded, continues to whisper, and these whispers manifest themselves in mysterious forms, almost invisible to those who live on the surface. But Scorpio does not belong to the surface. He feels what no one feels, realizes what others ignore. This is why these hidden signs should not be underestimated, because they are not random. They are messages, spiritual alerts, invisible invitations so that Scorpio will return to its axis. Dreams are the first channel, and they are not dreams. They are intense views, with dense atmospheres, archetypal symbols, presences that are not explained. Scorpio dreams of what is stored in the basements of the soul, dark places, animals of power, physical transformations, falls, deaths, rebirths. In many of these dreams, he is in danger, being persecuted, tested, or being forced to cross something that frightens him. The curious thing is that these dreams do not come with free fear. They bring messages, revelations. Sometimes exact words are said, phrases that are echoing in the body even after waking up. And strange as it may seem, these dream experiences are actually attempts at Scorpio's soul to reconnect with its original purpose. Another unmistakable signal is chill, but not that caused by cold or emotion. It is a specific, sudden chill that appears even without external stimulus. It may arise while the person is alone, reading, driving, even talking about something seemingly common. And it is in these moments that the body becomes a spiritual radar. Scorpio, by nature, has a much more developed sensory system than the other signs. When there is deviation from the way, the subtle energy that protects your soul begins to issue physical alerts, and the chill is one of them. It is spiritual energy touching matter, as a reminder that there is something out of alignment. Some feel chills, others a sudden heat in the neck or hands, a kind of vibration that comes from the inside out. And not understanding these signs may lead Scorpio to continue sinking into standards that should have been broken. In addition, one of the most intriguing signs is number 9. Scorpio has a hidden connection with this number by its nature of cycles, final, and rebirth. Number 9 is the number of spiritual transmutation, and when it appears repeatedly, whether on car plates, watches marking 909 or 1919, receipts, addresses, or even dreams, this is not a coincidence. It is a sign that there is an energy finish happening. Something is ending. A cycle is asking to be honored, closed, released. And if Scorpio does not pay attention, this accumulated energy becomes existential weight, because everything that Scorpion doesn't let out, he carries. And number 9 is a direct request of the soul: release, forgive, close, start. Another hidden sign, in which few know, is the recurrence of certain animals around Scorpio in disconnect or awakening phases. Owls, spiders, scorpions, snakes, bats. All of these are spiritual archetypes that accompany Scorpio in times of transition. They do not appear by chance. When you start to see these animals often, whether in images, dreams, on the street, or even in symbols, this is a warning of the collective unconscious. These are archetypes that vibrate at the same frequency of the sign, and when they repeatedly appear, they are signaling that something within you is changing. The serpent, for example, represents deep cure, the spider, the weave of fate, the bat, the rebirth in the dark, and the owl, the night vision of the truth. To ignore these signs is to ignore the call of your own soul. Other evidence may seem even more subtle, but no less relevant. The feeling of déjà vu, for example, intensifies. Situations that seem repeated, phrases you swear have heard before, places you feel you know, even though you have never been there. This is because when the Scorpion soul begins to try to return to the center, it crosses internal portals of spiritual memory, memories that are not just about this life, but from other journeys, from other versions of yours that have undergone similar challenges. Scorpio is a sign that carries deep records, and many of these records emerge in the form of strange sensations, by chance meetings, intense synchronities, and then the people mirror arise. Those that appear out of nowhere tell you something, touch wounds, turn their lives upside down, and then disappear. These meetings are not simple coincidences. They are spiritual calls, They are beings that come to show exactly where you are getting lost. Sometimes they come as love, others, such as pain, but they always carry a message. The universe uses these people as catalysts. They activate sleeping emotions, forgotten memories, blind spots of the soul, and Scorpio feels that. You know there is something there to look at, even if you don't know how to explain. Finally, there is a sign that few Scorpions understand as spiritual alert: sudden emotional exhaustion, a feeling of emptiness that arises even after achievements. The soul is silent, the motivation disappears, and on the outside everything seems to be right, but inside, something is collapsing. This exhaustion is not lazy, it is not common discouragement. It is the soul saying, "You are too far from who you came to be." It is a clear symptom of disconnecting with the spiritual mission, and when this happens, the body begins to give signs of failure: insomnia, anxiety, at issue, loss of appetite, compulsions, excess rationalization. All this as desperate ways to warn, it's time to return. Scorpion is not a common sign. His soul came to live in connection with the mysteries, to cross layers that no one else has the courage to play. But when he tries to live as if it were normal, hidden signs begin to scream. Only they don't scream out loud, they whisper, and only those who hear with the heart understand. So if any part of this message spoke to you, comment now below. Write, "I recognize the signs," or "My soul is coming back." This is more than a comment. It is a silent pact with its essence. Like this video, if it activated something on you. And if you are not yet inscribed, subscribe now, because the next revelation will deepen the meaning of these signs and show you how to use them as a compass to your true spiritual mission. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign, and how to heal them before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. And this is where we begin to understand the true paradox of the Scorpion soul. The deeper the dive in the shadows, the more potent is the light that can emerge from there. But this only happens for those who have the courage not to escape pain, because Scorpio does not become lightness, it becomes the fall, by the rupture. For the emotional crossing that tears everything that is superficial to be born, from there, something essential. And this crossing, as devastating as it may seem, is sacred. It is the process of Scorpion regeneration, a kind of symbolic death necessary for the soul to be reborn stronger, more conscious, closer to its spiritual mission. Few signs carry this cycle of death and rebirth with such intensity. Scorpio is born and dies countless times in the same life. He loses versions of himself. It releases people, ties, stories, places, certainties, and in each loss a part of its previous structure dissolves. But contrary to popular belief, this dissolution is not pure destruction. It is an energy reboot. Only this reboot charges. Expensive. It requires delivery, requires surrender. It requires Scorpio to accept pain not as punishment, but as a compass. Because as long as he keeps fighting pain, she devours him. But when he sees her conscientiously, she guides him back to his essence. This is exactly where the dark force of Scorpio is born, the one that many people confuse with coldness, with manipulation, insensitivity. But the truth is that this force does not come from evil. It comes from survival. It comes from the need to protect the internal light that almost no one recognizes, but that he knows he carries. It is a silent, deep, almost invisible light, but it pulsates in the center of the chest, even when everything seems to collapse. This light is the remaining spark when everything has already been lost. This is what is left after the masks fall, after the bonds break, after the illusions fall apart. And it is at this 0 point, where everything has been undone, that the true spiritual strength of Scorpio begins to awaken. Not as a flashy explosion, but as a resistant ember it refuses to erase, which insists on warming even in the middle of darkness. This embers is the call of the Renaissance, a call that does not come from outside, does not depend on anyone, does not feed on external applause or validations. It is something intimate, internal, secret. And that is why only those who went through true pain understands. Only those who died inside and still chose to continue know what it is to be reborn as a scorpion. This process has no scheduled time. It can happen at a time of silent crisis, in a sleepless night, after a brutal disappointment, or in a moment of solitude in which everything seems lost. And it is there, in this scenario of apparent end, that the Scorpio spirit raises itself, not by ego, not for pride, but by mission, because the soul of Scorpio knows that it has not been sent to this world to live an ordinary life. It carries spiritual codes of regeneration. It carries secrets that only reveal themselves when everything collapses. It's as if you need to lose everything to finally remember who you really are. And this memory comes as a soft shock, a memory that is not explained with words, but feels in the body, the skin, in the look, a certainty that arises from the inside, even when everything was in ruins. It is at this point that Scorpion awakens. He stops trying to control chaos and begins to dance with him. Stop resisting the pain and start listening to what it has to say. Stop blaming himself for being too intense and begins to realize that this intensity is, in fact, a spiritual gift, a direct channel with the invisible. In this state awake, Scorpion stops seeking redemption out of his own and begins to generate healing from inside. Your words become medicine. Your silence has weight. Your presence begins to transform the environments where you step. And all this happens without fuss. Scorpio does not need to announce its power. He just is. For now he knows. The light he carries was forged in the fire of his own personal hell, and that's why no one can get it out of him. But it takes courage to get here. Courage not to victimize. Courage not to become what hurt him. Courage to recognize one's darkness and yet choose the light. And this light is neither perfect nor unshakable. It oscillates, hesitates, sometimes almost erases, but never disappears. She is there, waiting, always waiting for the moment you will stop, running away from yourself. Scorpion need not be fixed. He needs to be accepted. It needs to be looked at with truth. You need to be remembered of your power. Because when he remembers, when he reacts his spiritual center, when he accepts his pain as part of the mission, everything changes. He is not who he was again. It becomes even bigger, a force that inspires, protects, which transforms everything around you. And this is not theory, it is real energy. It is a vibrational field that activates when you decide to stop hiding behind pain and begin to use it as a compass, as a spiritual orientation, as an internal map. So if you feel that you are in this process, if something inside you is in silent flames, burning what no longer serves, taking away everything that kept you small, then you are exactly where it should be, because the real renaissance does not start in the light. It starts in the dark. It starts when you get tired of carrying false versions of yourself. It starts when you stop trying to fit in small places, when you finally decide to be reborn. And if you felt at some point in this video that this is happening to you, if this message has activated something that was asleep, comment down here now, "I accept my pain as a compass," or "I'm in renaissance." These are simple words, but they seal an internal pact with their soul. Like this video, if it touched you deeply, and if you are not yet inscribed, subscribe now, because the next step in this journey will reveal how to use this internal light to fulfill your spiritual purpose, even in the midst of chaos. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. If this message has found you now at this very moment of your life, take a deep breath and feel. Feels with the body. Do not rationalize. Just feel. Because when this type of content comes to someone, it is not simply a video passing on the screen. It is a spiritual call. It is the universe, the guides, the soul itself, using this channel, this frequency, this voice, to remind you of something that never ceased to exist within you. No matter how long you have been disconnected from your essence, no matter how many times you have forgotten who it is, no matter how many ups and downs faced, how many cycles were broken, how many versions of yours died along the way, the spiritual truth is that you never lost the spark. She was only hidden. Scorpio energy, when it wakes up, always finds a way of speaking. And maybe now that's exactly that moment. This is where your ritual begins. And I'm not talking about a ritual full of candles, incense, or difficult words. I speak of a simple, straightforward, silent ritual, but incredibly powerful. The ritual of recognition, the sacred act of you looking inside and declaring, without fear, without masks, no doubt, yes, you carry this energy. You feel this vibration. You know there is something bigger moving everything. And that, as much as the world tried to silence it in you, no matter how much pain has tried to harden you, no matter how much life has disconnected from your way, still you know, a part of yours always knew, always felt. And when you recognize this truth within you, something changes. Something reorganizes internally. It is not visible to the eyes, but it is deep. It is as if the veils began to fall. The pieces started to fit. The soul began to align again with its origin. Therefore, this moment here, this second of the video, is more than a break. It is more than a closure of thought. It is actually a portal, an activation point. And the simple act of writing something in the comments is not just a common interaction. It is an energy brand. It is you leaving a trail of your consciousness. It is you sealing with your own hands the beginning of a cycle. I want you to feel the responsibility and spiritual strength of what we are going to do now, because words have power, and when they are written with intention, with presence, truth, they reverberate not only here, but in subtle layers that shape their reality. So if what you felt so far has touched you at some level, if you realize that this video spoke to your parts, no one else, if you felt chills, goosebumps, or that uncontrollable urge to cry for no reason, don't ignore it. This is your soul answering. It is your spirit manifesting itself. It's the vibrational field of your scorpion energy saying, I'm still here, and right now I invite you to leave a seal, a symbol, a phrase that declares to yourself and everything you guide you, that you are conscious, that you heard, that you are willing to remember. Right here in the comments, I carry this energy. Or if you felt something even deeper, write, I accept my scorpion essence. It may seem simple but not underestimated. These words will echo, they will accompany you. And more than that, they will attract exactly the experiences, meetings, paths, and signs your soul is asking. You are not alone. Here, in the spiritual community we are building, each comment becomes a link, a point of light, an energy confirmation that there are many like you, intense, deep, sometimes silent but incredibly connected with something larger, people who tired of living, sleeping, who can no longer ignore their intuition, who feel the call and no longer want to silence their own soul, people who, like you, carry the Scorpio energy within themselves, and who are now ready to live with truth. Then write, leave your seal, mark your presence, and feel in your heart. Read the comments of those who have already left yours. You will realize that you are not alone, that we are many, that there is a silent wave of souls awakening, remembering, connecting again with their mission. And the most beautiful of all, you are part of it. You are inside. You are ready. And we are here with you. It writes now with all your soul, I carry this energy. Let's see how many of us are ready to assume this truth. And if this vibration really touched you, if you felt that this video was unlike anything you have ever seen, like it now. Not only enjoyed to help the channel, but to confirm, energetically, that you have recognized the call. Your click is more than a gesture. It is a seal of spiritual presence. And if you are not already registered, subscribe. Because what we are building here is not a simple series of videos. It is a continuous portal of transformation, a digital temple where your soul will always be remembered the power it carries. In the next video, we will continue to unlock the Scorpion codes. And what comes next is a revelation that can turn the way you see your mission. You will not want to lose. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention! The stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. If you got here, something inside you already know. This call was not by chance. You may even have clicked on this video out of curiosity, on impulse because it is passing time. But what was awakened here goes far beyond what your eyes can see. It goes beyond words, beyond the voice, beyond the screen. What you felt in this process, yes, because that was a process. It is the echo of an old truth, a spiritual reminder of who you really are. Because those who are Scorpion, or who carry this dominant energy on the map, are not just in this life to survive, pay bills, and follow rules. They came to something much bigger. They came to dive where others are afraid of sinking. They came to feel what others refuse to feel. They came to destroy illusions and rebuild realities with the strength of the soul. Scorpion is not a sign for the weak. He belongs to those who face their own shadow and come back with light in their hands. The life of the Scorpions, or those who vibrate under this influence, will never be shallow. It will never be simple, because they carry a silent pact with the mystery, with the invisible, with what is only revealed when everything else has already been dismantled. And this pact cannot be broken. When Scorpio tries to live an ordinary life, the universe responds with chaos, ruptures, intense pains that are actually just signs of redirect. All this is part of the soul script. All of this was designed even before your birth, because you didn't come to fit. You came to break, to regenerate, to guide, to transform with the look, with the presence, with the energy that emanates from yourself when you do not notice. And you know why? Because there is a spiritual lineage that runs inside you, an invisible heritage that only chosen by this Scorpion frequency carry. People who have gone through much more than they count, who have died inside and returned in silence even stronger, that were betrayed, forgotten, underestimated, but never destroyed. Because as much as life tries to overthrow a Scorpio, he always raises with more awareness, more power, more clarity. And this is not by chance. It is mission, it is code, it is energy signature. It is a force that cannot be erased, just forgotten for a while. And if you are here, now, with your heart beating different, with your eyes maybe a little teary, with the feeling that all this is talking directly to you, it's because your soul is coming home. And now, here among us, I need to remind you of something even deeper, something that goes beyond signs, maps, archetypes. Go straight to the point. Do you feel you are here in this world with a purpose? Have you ever had that feeling that you don't fit anywhere, but still born to something big? Have you ever felt as if you had a secret mission that has not yet been completely revealed? Yeah, these thoughts are not random. They are messages, fragments of your own superior conscience trying to remind you of what you came here. And Scorpio, this sign that is reborn from the ashes, carries one of the most sacred ways to help humanity cross the invisible, finding healing in pain, to turn the sludge into flower. But that requires courage. Courage to continue feeling even when everything seems anesthetized. Courage to be deep in a shallow world. Courage to be intense when everyone calls for artificial lightness. Courage to follow even when no one understands you. And that is why you can no longer hide, neither of yourself, nor of your mission, nor of your light. Because there is someone, somewhere, who will only awaken when crossing with their energy. And you know that, I always knew. Then allow this memory to live on you. And more than that, allow her to guide her next decisions. Because when you decide to align with your soul, the universe realizes with you. The right people arrive, the right doors open. And what was before chaos turns way. And now, before you follow, I need to ask you something. Not as any favor, but as part of this spiritual ritual we are living together. If this video moved you, if you saw yourself in the words, you felt something you can't explain, comment down here now. My mission is bigger than I imagined. Or, if you want to seal this moment even more strongly, write, I accept my Scorpio so-called. These sentences are more than words. They are activators. They are spiritual stamps. These are statements that you are conscious, awake, present. What's more, they are signs for the universe that you are ready to receive the next step. Like this video if it reminds you of who you are. This helps the channel reach more people who also need to wake up. And if it's not yet inscribed, that's the moment. Subscribe and enable notifications if you have come here until the end of this deep dive into the Scorpio soul. So you are not just watching a video, you are living an awakening. And it already says a lot about your connection with this spiritual energy, so rare and powerful. So now it's your time to leave your mark. Subscribe to the channel right now, because here each video is a portal, each word is a code, and each revelation brings you even closer to your true spiritual mission. And if you really stayed until the end, I want to propose you a silent pact with your soul. Comment down here, I arrived until the end because my soul called me. This phrase seals your presence in this spiritual circle, activates your Scorpion energy, and shows that you are awake. Oh, and don't forget to leave your like, not only because it helps the channel, but because it also energetically confirms that you received the message you needed to hear. And now, this journey continues. The next video is already appearing here on the left side of your screen. Click on him and let us reveal the hidden secret of another sign that, like Scorpio, carries a deep spiritual truth. I find you there.